Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake or loyal? Why no water, death to sign a baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come.
Let's talk about this game real quick. First off, I'm gonna wait for everybody to get in here because this is the first post game we've done on this channel. So there's gonna be some kinks, and we're gonna work through those kinks. I just want to make sure everybody that can get in here gets in here. I'm not even sure who's within the chat right now. So if you're in here, please make yourself known. We're about to go off regardless. I'm getting this drink poured up because I think we're gonna need it. Wow. I'm not sure what type of game that was supposed to be. When it comes to the Saints offense, I understand defense gave up a lot, once again in the second half especially, but 9 points. 9 points. There's been a stall, right? Obviously, because we're talking about 9 points this week, and then last week we had 10 offensive points. Sure, we had 17, but 7 came from a punt return, which I've screamed at the top of my lungs probably multiple times, right? I'm not sure what it's going to take for the Saints to understand that it's time to evolve with the rest of the league, right? You're looking at teams that are putting up 70 points. You look at the Dolphins last week against Sean Payton and of course, the Broncos. You love to see it. But then you look at quarterbacks in the league like Patrick Mahomes, even Justin Fields making some plays. Zach Wilson is not even considered starting quarterback caliber. I don't even think he's backup quarterback caliber, but he makes some offensive, like, a few plays, just flashes that are like, oh, that's interesting, right? Like fun to watch shit. Besides Taysom Hill, I just don't see that with the Saints. And I don't know if it's lazy play calling. I don't know if it's Pete Carmichael's inability to evolve with the times. I don't know if it's this coaching staff being defensive minded, of course, with Dennis Allen at the front. I'm not sure if they don't trust the players, right? But if you don't trust the players, you know, why are you paying all this money, especially to Derek Carr? He's coming and making $140 million. He's getting guaranteed money, right? I mean, Jameis Winston could have gone in today and scored 9 points. I know I'm biased. I know I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan. But let's be honest, Jameis Winston could have came in here, no matter what your feelings are towards him, right? I mean, split down the middle, calling it straight. He could have came in there and scored 9, and Derek Carr could have got a week of rest. I understand the medical staff came over saying that it was the same risk of re-injury playing this week versus 2 weeks. Then sit him 2 weeks. Because if that's his best, I want nothing to do with it, man. If that's his best, I want nothing to do with it. It was pitiful. He had time, multiple opportunities, right? He failed to make a play. He failed to make a play. When you're making top 10 money, you need to make top 10 type of plays. I haven't seen that from Derek Carr. Not even in the foggiest, not in the slightest. And when it comes to the play calling, I gave it 3 weeks. You know, I've been talking about it on every episode, every chance I have with every piece of content with the Madden streams on Facebook, here on YouTube, on Twitter. I don't care. Talking it up with the homies. I've been saying that the play calling is getting a pass from me for 3 weeks, but this week was going to be it. You get Alvin Kamara back, you're no longer handicapped. And when it comes to calling your offense, Pete Carmichael had every opportunity, every tool to call his offense. Derek Carr supposed to be healthy, right? He was ruled healthy. They said it. Coaching staff said it. DC4 himself said it. If he's out there, that means there's no risk of re-injury. Oh. He had Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, right? And I'm talking about PC here, not Derek Carr, though he also had those tools at his disposal and failed to do anything with them. But the subject of focus is on Pete Carmichael. He had the tools today. And today was really his opportunity to prove that he can at least compete with the big dogs in this 2023 extremely offensive-focused league. And though given multiple opportunities, he failed to score more than 9. If you can't get in double digits, that should say a lot. That should say a lot. I'm not trying to say that Tampa Bay has a bad defense, because they don't have a bad defense, but they had guys out today. And there's zero excuse. There's zero excuse for the way the offense performed today. Even the line did work. Trevor Penning looked great. Gold star. Gold star Trevor Penning. I'm going to go back and watch tape. Y'all know every Saints game I watch at least twice, sometimes 3 times, right? Usually 3 times if it's a win. This one, I don't know if I need to even watch 3 times. I might watch just half of it because I didn't even see any offense in the second half to cover, right? I'm not really sure I saw any defense either. But with those type of gaps, the Saints should have scored more than 9 points. The Saints should have scored more than 9 points. Derek Carr holding the ball too much, I think, also encompasses the type of play calls that are being made. I've been saying it all week. The Saints are either play calling for 6 plays or they've been calling for 60. There's nothing in between. You have 2 phenomenal route runners in Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. You have 2 guys that can run up the middle, that can conquer the short routes. I mean, your entire offensive game plan, Drew Brees made an entire career, right, off facilitating through West Coast offense, through the short game, through dinking and diming. And you have to do that, right? Like, you can't be one extreme or the other. You have to be balanced, and I understand you want to take shots, and that's what we're calling for PC to do more of, is take shots, be more aggressive. But what we saw today wasn't that. We don't want shots when you're within 25 yards of the end zone. We don't want you on 1st and 10 at the 25 throwing 25-plus yards passes. Like, we don't need corner pocket end zone passes 4 times in a row, or 3 times in a row just to settle for 3. That's not what we need, because that's not aggressive. That's aggressive. We don't need it. That's almost conservative. That's almost trying to not think too hard when it comes to having to work with a short field. That's what that shows me. And it has me to the point to where I love the hiring of Doug Marrone coming in covering the offensive line. Offensive line looked better today, questioning that. Jari Evans is still in my good graces. Got love for him. I think he hasn't shown me where he's messing up coming in for Zach Strief. The offensive line is lacking consistency, but once I said, like I said again, it comes back to, I think, Doug Marrone more so, because he's the guy when it comes to O-line. And then I'm just not sure what to do, man. I'm not sure what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take the Saints to, moving on from Pete Carmichael. I know that they sat with Eric Bieniemy, and this is another big frustration point I am with the front office, because, and I'm going to get more into this, but it comes down to, are the Saints, and is that Saints front office looking to win football games, or are they looking to sell tickets? Because I think there's a difference, right? People are saying, well, of course, winning, right? They're trying to win. Winning's going to sell tickets. But I think there's a difference. Is Derek Carr the type of quarterback you bring in on a $140 million deal to win you a Super Bowl? Or is Derek Carr the type of quarterback you bring in to cover your ass, sell some seats, have a really high floor, an extremely low ceiling, praying on a weak division, maybe have a playoff berth with no real commitment to competing? Is that where we're at with the Saints front office? Because it feels like that's the case. I love the signing of Tyrann Mathieu. And then we brought in Jarvis Landry last year. And, I like feel-good signings. And then we brought in Jimmy Graham. And I'm all about feel-good signings, I am. But it just comes to, sometimes I feel like their focus is on selling tickets and not actually competing for a championship. And as a fan, I want to see him compete for a championship. I want to see him compete for a championship. Kamara came in today in his return. I'll look up his numbers. What are his numbers looking like? Let me look up his numbers here. We'll look up his numbers here. So Derek Carr finished, I'm gonna bring up Derek Carr's numbers first. Derek Carr finished 23 for 37 for 127 yards. He finished 23 for 37 for 127 yards. Well, Grunt, his arm hurts. He threw the ball 37 times. His arm hurts. He threw the ball 37 times. 37 times. His arm hurts? Don't play. Jameis played with spinal fractures, right? That was what I heard all last year, right? Jameis can't do shit. I don't care about injury. He shouldn't play, then he shouldn't play. He played with spine fractures. Derek Carr put up 127 yards because of an AC sprain, right? Because of an AC sprain. Jameis still came out there and made some plays last year. I'm going to make a video later this week on a side-by-side on their stats because I bet you they're comparable. Only thing that's different is the paycheck. 23 for 37 for 127 yards. That's incredible. Alvin Kamara, though, with 11 carries for 51 yards and 13 receptions for 33 yards. I'm going to go back and watch the stream earlier today, but that's exactly what I called for. 11 carries for 51 yards and 13 receptions for 33 yards. So, yeah, Kamara looked great, especially if you got him in and you got him in a PPR league. I have him in a league, you know what I mean? So, especially if you have him on your fantasy lineup, Alvin Kamara did look great today. But the Saints, offensive as a whole, I mean, you're talking about 3 field goals. No touchdowns. I mean, 2 touchdowns through 2 weeks. That's what? That's 2 touchdowns through 4 weeks. The Saints offense has put up 2 touchdowns through 4 weeks. The Saints scored more touchdowns through 4 weeks last year with Jameis Winston. That's all I'm trying to say. You bring in Derek Carr to 140 million, you're expecting a different result, right? That's the whole argument, right? 127 yards today. AC sprain or not, 127 yards today. I just can't get over that fact. 9 points. 2 touchdowns through 4 weeks. You're not going to win games. You're not going to win a division. You're not going to have a winning record. Talking about Super Bowls, you're not going to have a winning record with this type of offense. Line, play calling, it doesn't matter. This year is supposed to be different. It's so obvious that it's not. And I'm not sure what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take, y'all. It's going to, I mean, let's break down the numbers here. Here, I'm gonna break down the numbers here real quick so that y'all can kind of see what I'm talking about. Go break it down right here. Hold on. We're going to break it down right here, chat. Right here, family. We're going to break it down right here, family. Right here. Let's see where things went wrong. Let's see where things went wrong right here, all right? Let's see where things went wrong together, okay? Taysom Hill. I want to say this again. Taysom Hill, we are undefeated with Taysom Hill having 9 carries. I feel like I'm on repeat talking about, even if you have to just ruin that fact, that stat, they have to care about it, right? Because one would say they don't care about that stat, Grunt, because they don't rush him a lot. If they cared about that stat, if they really took that seriously, undefeated with 9 carries, they would run him more. Or maybe that, you know, maybe they do take it seriously so they don't want to ruin it. You know, I don't know. But regardless, we lost today. He had 4 rushes. Last week we lost. He had 4 rushes. So that's that. Kamara with 11 rushes for 51 yards. Here's my favorite one, though. Is Kendre Miller was actually averaging 3 yards a carry because he had 1 3-yard rush. Last week, he averaged 3.9 yards a carry, almost 4 yards. And he had 1 rush this week. But you get Adam Prentice a rush for 5 yards, right? Thanks for the fumble. Oh, my God, dude. Adam Prentice showing everybody why fullbacks are not taken seriously anymore. This is why this is what no one cares about fullbacks, right here. Rashid Shaheed with 3 receptions and 33 yards. I do love how Derek Carr, and I said it on my halftime report, I do love how Derek Carr is finding Rashid Shaheed more consistently. He's looking for him because Chris Olave is obviously going to find a lot of defensive coverage, especially the way he's putting up numbers in terms of yardage and the crazy catches he's having, even on double coverage recently. What does that do? It provides opportunities for a couple people. Rashid Shaheed's up there. And with his speed and the way that he's taken on this kind of apprentice role to Derek Carr, right? I mean, Derek Carr is really mentoring this guy. If you look at a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you love to see it, right? So anytime he has yards, I love it. 3 catches for 33 yards. He had some opportunities. I think it could have been more if the offense played a little bit of a different game here. So Taysom Hill with a 7-yard reception. Chris Olave showing right here what I meant by that. 1 reception for 4 yards. That's it. 1 reception for 4 yards. 9 points. There you go. Kamara having those kind of numbers makes sense. Olave was double covered though. I mean, there was other people were open. It's just we didn't find them, or we sent them too deep to where it was an irrelevant route. Pete Winter, I think for the 2nd week so far this year, is leading in tackles. Isaac Yiadom with 5. Yeah, Isaac Yiadom looked fantastic. And I think he will be a perfectly serviceable CB3 or CB4, excuse me. I wasn't a big fan. We got rid of Roby. I thought maybe keep Roby on the hook for one more year just because of his veteran presence, but then I was easily and quickly proven wrong when I saw preseason, when I saw really and really digested how Yiadom's come around. Plus you got Adebo, plus you have Alontae Taylor, who had 5 tackles last week and a sack, had a pick the week before that. So Yiadom, man. Yiadom looked great. Zach Bond with 3 tackles. But let's look at this here. Let's look at the defensive breakdown too, because Baker Mayfield still threw for 246 yards and a pick. Still threw for 246 yards and a pick, 3 touchdowns. Rashad White averaging 3.7 yards. I think here's the thing. I think the Saints defensive line is getting a lot better in terms of pressure. I mean, how many times was Baker Mayfield sacked today? He was sacked. I guess just one time. But I feel like we did get to him a good bit. Maybe I'll have to go back and watch tape. Maybe I'm incorrect. But I know for the year, overall, we have, over 10 sacks, right? Like it might be over 12 sacks we have. When last year we had like 5 sacks through 4 weeks. So the defensive pressure, or the QB pressure coming from the D-lines, definitely better. But stopping the run, you can see where we're sucking there. Outside of Brian Brissy, who made an incredible play. Unfortunately, didn't really mean much, but he made an incredible play. Baker Mayfield, not even a mobile quarterback, having 31 yards on that defense. They're exhausted, man. Godwin went 114. Evans with 40. 40 is a lot. Lattimore typically has Evans' number, so 40 reception yards is a lot. Chris Godwin, though, just lighting up. I guess who was coming in for the Saints on defense? What corner was getting torched? You can usually see by the numbers here. I guess Adebo. No, Adebo didn't play, so I guess Alontae Taylor, huh? Yiadom did well, so I guess Alontae Taylor. 3 tackles. Go back and watch a little bit. We had Abram. He came in, obviously played some downs today with, that's probably the big hole, I'd say. Looking at these numbers, I would say, because you got to think Marcus May's out. Jordan Howden looked bad last week, but not nearly as bad as what, but I guess I'd have to put it on Jonathan Abram. Given his track record, it makes sense. So I guess that was probably another big hole we had, was at the safety position. Man, what a game. I don't know what we're going to do here. I'm not sure what the Saints are going to, I'm not sure what the rest of the year looks like projection-wise when it comes to the offense or even the defense at this point. Make sure you smack that like button here on YouTube. Hit the sub button as well. We are dropping new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. So with that, on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., I'll be dropping a full post-game breakdown of Saints versus Bucs. The huge loss at home. This is supposed to be a huge momentum swinger for the Who Dat Nation. Instead, it's going to head that way. But for the Bucs, as they're going to take the #1 spot in the division when they were predicted to be the worst team. A lot of change of events here, I think, over the first 4 weeks of the season. I'll be keeping you updated all season long. Of course, we bring in daily content on Facebook, facebook.com/the.g.grunt. Also have that link here in the description. But Tuesday and Thursday, new episodes, new breakdowns every single week here on YouTube, as well as, plenty of uploads, and we're going to cover that lanyap, everything in between. Also, new guests we bring it on every single week as they come in. So lots of big things coming for the page. So thank you. Make sure you're following us on all platforms. Look, it's early. The Saints are 2-2. They're not in a terrible spot. But whenever you look at, because the reason I'm saying this, because they have the whole division has a pretty easy schedule, right? Heading into the rest of the year, especially for, I guess, looking back at the Saints. No, I don't know. They got some tough games coming up. They have a few tough ones. They got a game against the Lions coming up. They got the Bears coming up. I know they might be a win for us, but the way the Saints struggle against rushing quarterbacks, I feel like Justin Fields might give the Saints a run for their money. I don't know. The Saints were supposed to be 3-1 right now. I don't know. I had the Saints 3-1. I didn't have them 2-2. We'll see what happens. But I'll be keeping you updated all along the way. Thank y'all so much for the continued support here on YouTube and the rest of the platforms. We're going to keep growing. Look, it's more than just football. It's family around here. So thank you so much. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And as always, who that's, we that. And listen, I still believe that. But we got to come through. If Pete Carmichael can't get this together, we're going to have a conversation. I'm telling you. He may have tenure here forever. How many more games is it going to take? I don't know. But appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. Be blessed. I'll see y'all next time. Let's go.
Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake or loyal? Why no water, death is sign, baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come.